everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emma and in these videos I chat to you about the things that I've been making over the last few weeks. This week I have got some knitting as usual, and for the second episode running I've also got a bit of crochet to share with you. It is the end of May. I last recorded at the end of April. I try to get a video in every 2 weeks, but the bank holidays, I think, have thrown me off this month. For those of you not in the UK, we've had an extra bank holiday this month because of the King's coronation. And being a self-employed person, that just means an extra day where I can't get to work. Anyway, yeah, so I've been a little bit out of kilter with the days and losing days, so I had to forego my usual Friday recording last time, but I'm back today. I wanted to get this one in because I'm not going to be able to record again until mid to late June. So I was really keen to make sure that I got this video in. Right, I've got quite a lot to share with you today, so I'm going to get straight into it. And the first thing to share with you is my finished Cumulus Tee. I will just do a quick standy uppy and show you. Don't know if that's going out of focus, but you can see here, all finished. And I am really happy with it. This is a pattern by PetiteKnit. I need to find the ball bands. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. I'm not really very prepared for the video today. I haven't done the usual prep that I do, so you will need to forgive me if it's a little bit, you know. Anyway, so pattern by PetiteKnit, and it's knit in yarn from Sandnes Garn. It's the Tin Line, which, as I understand it, means thin linen or thin yarn, something like that. It's a Norwegian yarn, and the mix is 53% cotton, 33% viscose and 14% linen, and it's in the colourway 8561. This is the yarn that I have left. Lovely green colour. I bought 7 balls of this. It comes in 50 gram balls, I'm assuming. Yeah, 50 grams, 220 meters per ball. I knit size 5, I believe, and the finished garment used 230 grams of yarn. It is knit top down. Right, let's just explain how it's knit. It's fairly standard, I'm assuming. You start off at the back, you do some short rows, I think, and then you, I'm just trying to remember actually. Yeah, you start off at the back, and then it's a raglan construction. So you work the raglan at the same time as working the V-neck. And then you join, that's right, you sort of knit the back, knit round here. So at the beginning you're dealing with a long strip of yarn, so you're working backwards and forwards, and then you join in the round and you continue constructing the raglan as a normal raglan would be constructed, if you're familiar with that. You put the sleeve stitches on hold, and then you knit the rest of the body, and you bind the body off with an I-cord bind off, It's a decreasing I-cord bind off, so the effect is that it brings the shape of the body in a bit, and it sort of creates this really nice, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it sort of tucks in. It tucks itself in, so that's quite a nice effect, I think. And then you knit the sleeves as normal. The sleeves also have, can I show you that way? No, I'll show you that way. The sleeves also have the I-cord finish, and it's a decreasing I-cord, so it just brings the sleeves in a little bit, and then you finish the neckline with the I-cord as well. I really, really, really like that finish, and I would use that finish on a garment any day of the week. Really nice. The one issue that I have no issues with this. I have two issues with this pattern as a whole. The first one is the size inclusivity, and I think I've mentioned this in a previous podcast. It's not the most, so I've got hair. It's not the most size inclusive pattern out there. I think there are 7 sizes, 7 or 8 sizes. 7 sizes, I think. I'm not sure. You can get all the details from the PetiteKnit website or Ravelry, but it's not the most size inclusive pattern out there. I do believe that the designer behind PetiteKnit is working on her back catalogue of patterns to improve that. I do believe that her new patterns do have more size options available, so that is a good thing. The other issue that I had, and it's an issue that I've had with the only other PetiteKnit pattern that I have worked on before, which was the Stockholm slipover, and that was picking up around the neckline. So you, as I said, you work your V-neck, and then at the end you come back to pick up stitches to work the I-cord in. I think you call it an applied I-cord, but I may be wrong about that. But basically you knit the I-cord around the edge. Now the pattern tells you how many stitches to pick up for the I-cord. And for my size, I can't remember the exact number, but it was somewhere in the region of 200 plus a few more. And I could only pick up about 150 stitches, and I could not see where you could find another 50 stitches around this area to pick up. I just didn't get it. The pattern will have been extensively test knitted, so I'm assuming that there was something that I was missing about how to pick up the stitches. But in the end, the silver lining of that was, prior to having picked up the stitches, this V-neck was quite deep. It probably came down to about here, which I was a little bit worried about. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I thought I was a little bit worried that that might be a bit too deep, and I was hoping that the I-cord stitch pickup would help to rectify that. Had I picked up the 200 stitches, it would probably have sort of finished round here somewhere, but picking up 150, it just lifted it up a little bit, and I'm really pleased with that. The yarn is really nice. It creates a really nice drapey fabric. Yeah, it's a little bit splitty to knit with, which will be down to the mix of the fibres. And it's quite a fine yarn. It's lighter than what I would expect a standard fingering weight to be. So there are an awful lot of stitches to knit, but I think it's a pattern that is very well worth the effort of those stitches. I'm really pleased with it. Would I make another one? Possibly, yes. Not this summer, although I would quite like another one for next summer, maybe in a sort of creamy colour or in a navy blue, maybe in a bright colour even for summer, who knows. So that might be a project for maybe next winter, I don't know, we will see. But overall, really happy with that project. So that is the Cumulus Tee. I should say I did swatch and I got gauge with the needles recommended in the pattern. I have 2 more finished items before we get on to looking at what I'm currently working on. Don't have my sock blockers with me. Let me just get them. They are just here. I have a drawer where I put everything ready for the next podcast, and I clearly didn't look in that before I started recording. Right, I was working on these last time. I have finished them. They are socks knit out of a sock set from Beehive Yarns, and here they are. Aren't they gorgeous? Now, construction of these socks, there's the other one. Construction of these socks, I started at the toe. I knit the umbrella toe from Kay Jones's pattern, the umbrella sock. I finagled the increases to get me to 60 stitches here, which is, I like a 60 stitch sock. I knit the foot. I did a German short row heel and leg, 1 by 1 twisted rib, and finished off with just a couple of rounds of the contrast colour that came in the sock set, this gorgeous sludgy green. Beth from Beehive Yarns has a really lovely podcast. She was talking about this sock set in her most recent podcast, and she called this a sludgy green. So it's not me being rude about it, I really like that colour. How many more times can I show that green to you? Anyway, so yeah, really happy with those. I used the sewn bind off, also from the umbrella socks pattern. It has created, if I show you on the other sock, it's created a very nice stretchy edge, possibly stretchy enough for me to be happy with. If you remember the last pair of toe-up socks I had knit, I wasn't happy with the stretchiness of the bind off. This is definitely a little bit more stretchy. I'd be tempted maybe to go up a needle size to see if I can improve the stretchiness any further, but it's a good contender for the bind off of choice for toe-up sock knitting. The sock, the yarn, I don't have any of this. I've popped it. I don't have any of this. I have popped it into my scraps box bag. I popped it somewhere. I can't quite remember where. But the yarn came as a sock set, so you got 50 grams of the main yarn and 20 grams of the mini. The pair of socks use most of the main skein, and I've got a good amount of that mini left. Yeah, so really happy with these. I will most probably not be wearing them until the autumn, because it is now gloriously spring-like weather here in Somerset. We've had a really lovely week of blue skies and sunshine, and that just lifts my heart. So the other project that I have finished is very unseasonal, like my socks I suppose. In the last episode, when I was talking about crochet, I mentioned that I was quite tempted to cast on a corner-to-corner crochet blanket. I haven't done, but I said that I might do that when I finish my bits and bobs blanket. And I hadn't been working on my bits and bobs blanket for many months, because it's a big heavy big heavy blanket and not appropriate for, or I didn't really feel like knitting on it in the spring. However, I decided to finish it and I have done so. Now, the Bits and Bobs blanket is a pattern by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears. It uses 2 strands of yarn held together to create this lovely marled effect. The yarns I used were Bits and Bobs from my scraps. Don't like using the word scraps. Bits and Bobs of leftover yarns, and a skein or multiple skeins of Drop Snored. I forget the colourway, but it's their light grey. And that's what you get. I will hold it up so you can see it. Am I holding it up the right way? Yeah. I mean, it's huge. You're not going to see it all. I cast on the recommended number of stitches in the pattern, I think, although it was so long ago that I cast it on, I can't quite remember. I didn't knit it as long as the blanket, as long as the pattern recommended, simply because we don't really use blankets in our house very much. Our house is reasonably warm even in winter, so we don't have a great need for blankets. We don't sit under blankets in the evenings, so don't really need a great big blanket, but it's nice to have one on the arm of the chair in the winter because you never know. So I just thought, right, I don't need to go huge. I will keep it at a reasonably manageable size, and that's what I have done. So it's finished. I didn't put a border on it. I didn't think it needed it. I just bound off in pattern and I'm very happy with it. It's knit. It's knit. It's a textured stitch. It's a drop stitch. I believe it's fisherman's rib, but it's not exactly stated in the pattern what the name of the stitch is. So drop stitch, dip stitch, where you, anyway. I don't want to give too much of the pattern away, but it creates a really squishy fabric, and I really like it. So very happy with that. Glad that it's off the needles, and whether I knit any more blankets, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, right, on to things that I'm currently working on. I've just got a few notes here just to make sure that I am telling you everything I need to tell you. Right, so the main project that I've been working on over the last week or so since I've finished this is another summer top, and it's the Thea top. It's a pattern by Suzanne Muller. She is the designer behind the Ole mitts. If you remember, I knit those finished knitting those a few episodes ago. They were the grey fisherman's rib mittens. So yeah, same designer. The yarn in the pattern, what's the yarn? Anyway, I'm not knitting it out of the recommended yarn, but I'm knitting it out of a very similar yarn. I'm knitting it from, out of Drop Spell in the colourway 03. And this is a sort of, well, on the Wool Warehouse website where I bought it, it's described as light beige. It's more a sort of creamy colour, I would say, but that's just what it looks like to me. The content is exactly the same as this, the Sanders Garn. It's a 53% cotton, 33% viscose, 14% linen. You get 120 metres to a 50 gram ball, so it's roughly a DK weight. And I really like this. I would really happily knit with this again. So let me show you where I have got to. I cast this on about a week ago, and I've made really good progress because I am enjoying the knit very much. So with this project, I won't give too much away, but you cast on here where my cord is, and you work down the back to a certain point. Then you put those stitches on hold and you pick up on one side for the shoulders, you knit over the shoulders. I don't know how well this is going to come across. You knit over the shoulders and you start increasing for the neck scoop and the armhole increase, and then you do the same on the other side, and then you join in the middle, and then you are onto your knit down the body. And that is where I am. The yarn, I'm just really impressed with this yarn. A ball cost me £2, which is very good value for a really nice yarn. The yarn is very similar to the Sandnes yarn. Here they both are, side by side. So the Sandnes yarn, although it's a sort of a fine 4-ply, whereas this is a DK, it's the same content. This has a slight sheen to it, whereas this is a little bit more matte. The Sandnes yarn has a slight sheen to it. The drops is a little bit more matte. That might be because of the colour that I'm using. I'm not sure, but I'd be interested to see what a darker yarn in this drop spell looks like. And I'm sure I will knit another one of these. Because it's A, really quick, and B, a really enjoyable knit. So I reckon that I will have finished this by the time I record again. We will see. The negative about the pattern, again, it's the size inclusivity. This comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5. Oh no, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5 sizes. The chest circumference finished measurements, it's 88 centimetres for the smallest, up to 128 centimetres for the largest. Yeah, so it's not great for size inclusivity. I'm knitting a size 3, which gives me a couple of inches of positive ease. I'm going to investigate whether she is looking at improving her inclusivity, because I really like that, and I am torn about knitting patterns that aren't great on the size inclusivity issue. But I've been looking for a summer vest style top for quite a long time and not really seen one that I liked, and as soon as I saw that one I really liked it. So the next project that I've been working on and off, not a huge amount, is a new pair of socks. I'm knitting this, I'm knitting this out of a skein of commercial yarn. There we go. Now this is oh, it's slow today, my camera. So it's a skein of Grundle Hot Socks Pearl. The colour is 02. And it's a really nice soft sock yarn. It's 75% wool, 20% polyamide and 5% cashmere. It's super soft, really nice feel to it, and this is how it's knitting up. I love the colours. I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not mad keen on the patterning, but I can live with that. So I'm knitting these toe up again. I have knit the umbrella toe again, like my Beehive Yarn socks, up to 60 stitches, and then I'm just working my way up the foot. I will need to decide what sort of heel I put in. I haven't made that decision yet, but that will come at some point. Yeah, so not much to say about these really. Knitting them on DPNs, which is how I like to knit my socks at the moment. These are Chalgoos and I use size 2.25mm. So just a sock pattern happening in the background really. I'm not working on those massively, but they'll get finished at some point. Okay, I think I have one more pattern to talk about, one more project to talk about, which I have here. So the other morning, so my morning routine, I get up an hour or so before my husband gets up in the morning, and I really enjoy that hour where I have a cup of tea or coffee and I sit and I read for a bit and I do a bit of knitting. And at some point this week I was up here in my studio and I just fancied knitting doing a bit more crochet. And so I started to crochet. What I thought I wanted was a big wrap, big crocheted shawl for the winter. If you remember a while ago I knit the habitation throw, and I wear that, or I have worn that an awful lot over the last winter, but instead of as a sort of a blankety thing, I folded it in half into a triangle and just wear it around my shoulders, and that's been lovely. And I quite fancied a crochet version of that. And so I started with my box of scraps, and I started working on another half granny square, and that's where I got to. But I thought for a shawl to keep warm in the winter, this wasn't really going to do the trick, because it's 4-ply, it's quite fine, because it's a granny square pattern, it's gappy, and so I have got no further with that. But I was really enjoying the crochet process, and so the next day I started work on a full-size granny square, because I thought what I could do is, like my habitation throw, fold the granny square in half, and then I'd have a triangular shawl that I can wrap around my shoulders. And because I've got a lot of leftover yarns, sock weight yarns, I could make quite a big shawl. And so we have got the start of my granny square shawl. This is essentially what it will look like, folded up over my shoulders. And I'm working one round of sock yarn and one round of this just plain cream coloured yarn. I'm using any creams that I've got lying around, so this is an old ball of Mr. B yarns. You can see it's got some speckles in it, and I've also got this, which is a Drops Fable. So I'm not being too particular about the neutral that's going in. nor am I being too particular about the order that I put my colours in, other than I don't want a bright pink next to a bright pink or a bright green next to a bright green, that sort of thing. But I'm just really enjoying that process in the morning of knitting. At the moment, a few rounds, knitting, crocheting. I'm using the method where you swap sides when you change colour. So the front of the granny square, I'm doing the coloured sock yarn, and on the back I turn it over and do the neutral, and that gives you a nice square. When you don't do that, if you just keep crocheting in the same direction on the same side, your crochet square sort of morphs a little bit into an off square shape. Am I in focus? I don't think I am. So yeah, crochet project. This will keep me going for a few months, I'm assuming, but it's quite a good time to start it now because it'll be ready for the winter. I'm not following any particular pattern. I looked at a few tutorials online on YouTube just to refresh my memory about how to crochet a granny square, and I'm away. I'm changing my colours by using a standing stitch to start the new colour. So do I really want to describe this, Emma? Because I do have difficulties describing things sometimes, and not being a crochet aficionado, this might get challenging. Anyway, let's give it a go. So I pull through a loop of crochet, and I do 3 chains, and that creates a standing stitch, and I use both ends of the yarn, so I use my tail and my working yarn to create that first chain of the 3 chains that make up the granny square. I hope you understand that. Not very well described, but yeah, I spent quite a long time actually looking at different ways to change yarns, and I think I've found sort of quite a stress-free way of doing it. Okay, I think that might be it for all the projects I've been working on. A couple of honourable mentions. Nana the Lady Duck that I shared with you last time has had a little bit of work on it, and actually it's had quite a lot of work on it because I had to rip it out and start again. And I have just started shaping the head. Actually, I've got quite a way shaping the head, but I'm not going to show you that this time. I'm going to get a little bit further into that project and then share it with you again. And I've also done a little bit of work on my litmus cowl that I'm knitting out of my beautiful Cami Jo knit yarns, the dark blue and the sort of cognac-y colour. But only I've maybe done a stripe or 2, so I'm not going to share that with you either. Okay, that's it for knitting works in progress, knitting and crochet works in progress. I'm going to share with you 3 books that I have been reading. 2 I have finished. Yeah, 1 I've finished, 1 I've started and finished, and 1 I've just started. So the last time I spoke to you, I was reading The 4 Winds by Kristin Hannah. I have finished that. I am in a bit of a minority about my views on this book. I thoroughly enjoyed the first 4/5 of the book. I thoroughly enjoyed I've said this before, I really found the historical context behind the book absolutely fascinating. It's a story about a woman and her children in the Dust Bowl in America in the 1930s, and they and the hardships that they endure having to live and try and earn a living in those really challenging economic times. That whole side of it was absolutely fascinating, and I was really transfixed by that story. The ending of the story I really struggled with. I won't give anything away, but I was not overly happy with the way that it all finished up. I know that that's not a widely held view, but yeah, it's really interesting. I'm not going to say any more. I'd really like to say more, but I'm not going to say more. You can read my Goodreads review if you want. It's just a short review, and I've linked below in the description box my Goodreads account. So if you're interested to know what I think about the ending, you can go and read it there. But yeah, it's certainly not putting me off Kristen Hanna's books. I really enjoy reading her books. I really enjoyed most of that book, just the ending. I'm not showing it to you because it's on my Kindle, but I then went on to read The Heron's Cry by Anne Reeves. I'll take my bookmark out, which was the instructions for our solar lights outside. So Anne Cleeve's The Heron's Cry. This is book 2 in the Two Rivers series, which is about it's a police procedural series set in North Devon, not a million miles away from where I live. I know some of the area that is described in the book, which makes it interesting, but as a book in itself, if you don't know the area, I love it. I really enjoy a good police procedural, and both this and the first book in the series, which was called The Long Call, were both really good. I like the main characters, the main policeman in it, policeman and policewoman. That's yeah. So the main police characters I really like as characters. Really quick read. I read this in maybe 1 or 2 weeks. So yeah, really good. I got it as hardback because my daughter gave it to me. It's a charity shop Christmas present, which I think is a really good way to buy books for people. I think this hardback cost her £1.50. So yeah, so really good. Highly recommend it. You don't need to have read the first book to enjoy this one, but I would recommend reading the series. And I believe there's a book 3 coming out. Oh, sorry. There's a book 3 coming out pretty soon. And then I went on and started to read. I'm just going to look this one up on my Kindle because I want to show you the front cover. I wanted to show you the front cover because I couldn't remember what it was called. There we go. It's The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. This is the first book in a series of about 7 books, I think. I'm sure many of you have read this. I'm reading it because one of my friends, Sarah, hello, she has talked about this as a book, as a series that she really loved, and so I thought that I would start reading it. I'm only on chapter 4 or something like that. I can't tell you too much about it at the moment because I'm not really sure, other than something has just happened. There's a family, it's a family saga, I think, and each book focuses on one sister. So there's 6 or 7 sisters. Actually, it's called The Seven Sisters, isn't it? So each book focuses on one of the sisters. The first book is about the oldest sister, Maya, I think her name is. And yeah, I've only really just started it, so I can't tell you too much, but so far so good, enjoying it. It's a nice, straightforward, easy, gentle read at the moment. Yeah, I've got a little bit of time off coming up as of today, really, and I've got quite a lot of books that I would like to get through, so there may be some more recommendations to come in my next podcast. And that kind of leads me on to just a little bit of news about the shop. So for the next 2 weeks I am downing tools, I'm not working, I'm having a little bit of time off to recharge my batteries. to knit a bit, to read a lot, I hope, to enjoy some sunshine. And in terms of the shop, I will not be processing any orders that come in over the next 2 weeks. Anything that does come in while I'm off that is ready to ship will be posted the week commencing June the 12th. And anything that comes in that is a made to order I will contact you on my return to work to give you an expected sewing date, which is likely to be the beginning of July, because when I come back I will be cracking on with working on bags for the shop update, which is going to be happening at the end of June. Now you will see here a whole stack of bags ready to that are ready made. There's a few of those will be going out in the post this weekend. If you've got an order that is made to order and you haven't had your shipping notification yet, it's there and it's going out this weekend. But some of these are bags that are going into the new update, and I will show you these. I'll give you an example. Okay, I'm going to show you just a couple of midi bags. I've got 2 fabrics for the next update. They will be available in all my standard bag sizes, so notions all the way up to extra large, and I am also introducing a tote bag into the collection as well. But the 2 bags, the 2 fabrics, this is the first one. This will be called Country Garden. I think you can see why. Show you the other side. I really like this fabric a lot. It's whimsical. It's got geese on it, or ducks. That actually they're not geese, they're ducks. They are runner ducks, actually, I think. They might be geese, I don't know. It's got flowers, it's got vegetables, it's got a cottage, it's got watering cans. It has got these really cute, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but these are really cute little markers for saying what's in your veg plot, and they're all in French. It's lovely. I really like it. It's a home decor weight fabric, as it's the fabric that I usually use for my project bags. It has got pockets on the inside. I'm upgrading my bags, my midi bags and my XL bags. I'm upgrading them. Normally I have, or in the past I have had pockets on one side only. All future midi and XL bags will have pockets on both sides. As you can just about see, there's 2 pockets on one side, and on this side there's 1, 2 or 3, 4 pockets, I think. A couple of little ones, and yeah. So that's the Country Garden bag, midi size. It's got a nice big bottom, fits about 4, 5, 6 skeins of yarn, something like that. Need to just measure that out properly. And then the other fabric is this beautiful, really nice summery print. And this is going to be called Sumi Ink. And it's these gorgeous sort of hand-painted, Scandi inspired designs with these. I love this bird. There's another couple of birds on the fabric. You can just see one of them popping out the top of there. But just these really lovely inky drawings. I love that. And again, this is the midi size. You can see it's got the pockets on both sides. I always line my bags with canvas, so they are really nice and sturdy. They stand up on their own because they're very nicely interfaced. Camera just cut out there. Hopefully you caught that I was saying that the bags stand up on their own, they're interfaced, and they are made to last. So yeah, really pleased with this collection. So that's it for the shop news, and that is it for this episode, I believe. I don't think there's anything else to run through. I hope you enjoyed it. Apologies for my lack of verbal dexterity. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't prepare as well today. That's a really good lesson for me for next time. I need to prepare for these. I'm not very good at doing podcasts off the cuff. Anyway, I hope you have a really lovely few weeks until I see you again. Thank you ever so much for watching, and enjoy the lovely sunny weather if you're here in the UK, or whatever it is doing in your own country. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.